All right, Shalom. First off, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shah, by Hashem, Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and Shalom, a salute to the hopefully elect. All right, so on this particular lesson, I was kind of like brainstorming, and I hear certain people talking about, especially these Christians, that everybody can make it, and we are in the new covenant, and just the nonsense the average Christian talks about. All the nations, they so worried about all the other nations, they even forget their own selves. We often have these Christians that come up. They never inquire about the Pookie and Ray Rays can be saved, or the Chinese, or the Moabite man, or even the African, even those Africans over there, or the Asians, or whoever the Shaniquas. They always worried about Esau and whether Esau can be saved, or even sometimes the other nations. But they never inquire even about themselves. I'm talking about the people in the hood, because the first thing they'll say is, "Oh, they the bad ones," and often the knuckleheads or whatever. They don't inquire about them. They worried about the so-called white man and whether he can be saved. Which, again, we don't go by how a person looks on the outward side, because it's a lot of Israelites. We even got a brother in the camp, the slowly, coming up in the camp. And he looks so-called. People walk past and sometimes they frown up and all that of the brother, but the brother is a straight Israelite. He just had that white look, or what they would call white. And a lot of our people look white, but they're Israelites. Even at the time, as you can see on the screen, during the time of Yahweh Shai, you had mostly in that area, mostly only the southern tribes. You still had northern tribes within, in that area, but the majority of the northern tribes were over here already. They were on this side of the region called Azareth, which is America. They were already over here, and you had so-called black people living in America way before Columbus and way before Amerigo Vespucci, right? Which is America. I looked it up. I did some research. America is the feminine way of saying Amerigo, right? Because it's supposed to be called Amerigo, but Africa, which names after Leo Scipios Africanus, that's the feminine way of saying this, saying the continent or the person, the last name they use. Europa is named after a woman. California is named after a woman. The Latin version of the word, America, America. That's the feminine way of saying Amerigo. So a lot, the feminine vibration is out there. A lot of these land masses are named after, European men, but it's the feminine way of saying it, like Africa. The name is supposed to be Africanus. That's the feminine way of saying Africanus is Africa. Just like every word, every name has a feminine way of saying it. Like Judah, Judith. That's the feminine way of saying Judah, Judith. So just going over that version. But just to get to the point, the reason why I pulled this lesson up is because I did a simple Google search, and I pulled up scriptures on how many scriptures there are of the Lord restoring Israel or Jerusalem. You see, you can't restore something that you ain't had before, right? Restore, means you already had it. You see, so he's not getting, the reason why he's restoring it is because he's already had the nation of Israel or Jerusalem with him. So he's restoring it, right? The Lord just didn't get mad at us and then say, I'm gonna leave you guys all together. I'm going, now all the other nations can be saved. No, he said he's going to restore. So let's look up the word restore. All right, right now we are in online etymology, and I'm looking up the word restore, the verb or restoration. This is a good one too. But let's look up restore first. We'll go to restoration. It says to give back. So how can you give back something that you never had before? It says to build up again, repair, renew, reestablish, right? Free from the effects of sin. Bring back to a former and better state. So that's what he's doing with Israel, right? Now, all the other nations, how can you restore all the other nations when you never had, when all the other nations were never with him, right? How can the Most High restore Moab, Ammon, Esau when they never was with him? Japhet, when the Lord, how can he restore a nation that was never with him? To give back. He never was with them. Let's look up restoration. And this the one I want. A means of healing or restoring health. A cure. Here's it go. Here we go. Renewing of something lost. And that's why the Israelites are called, what they call the lost 10 tribes, or the lost 12 tribes, or the lost tribes of Israel. How can you lose something that you never had? You see? How can you lose something you never had? So it says 22 verses. I said Bible verses on the Lord restoring Israel or Jerusalem. And there's 22 Bible verses on this. Him restoring Israel or Jerusalem. And it could be more, but this just in a nutshell. But for this particular lesson, I'll read a couple of them. Ezekiel 11:17, it says, therefore, thus saith the Lord, our power, I will gather you from the people and assemble you out of the countries where you have been scattered. I will give you the land of Israel. It's a couple of them. Behold, a day is coming for the Lord when the spoil taken from you will I be dividing in your midst. For I will gather all the nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be, that's another one. But the one I wanted for this particular lesson, Zechariah. Let's go to Zechariah 8:1. Is this it? I wanted the one in Jeremiah. Yeah, Jeremiah 30:3. Let's go to that. And pretty much Jeremiah 30, 31, 32, and 33, the chapters, it goes into restoring Israel. But let's go to 30. We'll start at 3. It says, "For lo, the days cometh, saith the Lord, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, saith the Lord, and I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it." It says, "And these are the words that the Lord spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah." And Israel represents the northern tribes, right? And Judah represents the southern tribes. It says, "For thus saith the Lord, we have heard a voice trembling of fear and not peace." It says, "Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness." It says, "At last, for the day is great, so that none is like it. It is even a time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it." All right, let's go down. Where is it at? Here it is. Let's go to verse 16. It says, "Therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thy adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity." So that's talking about all the nations, because if the Lord can save everybody, who's he's talking about that's going to go into captivity? Right? It's these other nations. It says, "And they that spoil thee shall be spoiled, and all they that prey upon thee will I give for a prey." Here it goes. "For I will restore health unto you, and I will heal thy wounds, saith the Lord, because they have called thee an outcast, saying, This is Zion, who no man seeketh after." Right. So it's you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the children of Israel, and those that scattered, our brothers and sisters that look like other nations, that this truth is connected to you. Guess what? You're Israelites too. Because only Israel going to get this truth and understand this truth. I don't care who you look like, what you look like. The spirit be with our spirit that you are an Israelite. But that's just, we had the signs out there because we've been trodden down so much in America, to where as though we think that a lot of our people think that the real Jews are the people over in that land. And the water say, how about Shem Yahushua for the elders and apostles for passing his knowledge down to the next generation and the next generation, and we keep it popping, you know what I mean? And we keeping the hope alive, So I hope this lesson was, edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba Hashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba Hashem Rakah Kwadash. Till again, Shalom.